Welcome. This VATAS instructional video is going to focus on telework from the timekeeper perspective. Telework coding has become a highly auditable item within the VA. And when an employee teleworks as part of a schedule and has a signed telework agreement on file per VA Handbook 5011/28, Part 2, Chapter 3, those telework days must be indicated on the employee's schedule. For this example, we're going to go to our employee schedules grid view, and the employee that we will be working with today is Emily Employee. We will click on the employee's name, and for this demo, we will be building a permanent schedule, so we will add a permanent schedule. When you are building a permanent schedule for an employee and you are coding telework, you will have three options: TW, telework regular, TS, telework ad hoc situational, and TM, telework medical. First though, we must name our schedule, and I will just name it with the employee's last name, which is employee, and the date the schedule is beginning, which is 4/30/17. The weeks is defaulted to 2, and we will not change that. The start date is defaulted to the first day of the current pay period, and a permanent schedule will never have an end date. We're going to build a basic Monday through Friday schedule for this demo. So we will select the day box and check all of the days, and we will then unselect Sunday and Saturday of each week. We will then scroll down and select Insert Tour. Once we click Insert Tour, you find the tour of duty you are wanting to use to build your employee's schedule. We select 0006, turn it dark blue, and click OK. This will populate the tour of duty to the employee's schedule. Notice in the middle column, it says Telework Code. And in that drop-down box, again, you have the three options. You also see recess time, but that is not a code that we will be using within the Department of Veterans Affairs. If you are building a schedule for an employee who is going to telework on the same days, pay period after pay period, you will select TW, Telework Regular. When building a permanent schedule, you would never select the TS, Telework Ad Hoc Situational, because as the name suggests, this is situational telework. You may be in a situation where you have an employee who has been approved for telework medical for a specified amount of time, and in those scenarios, you would code telework medical on the employee's schedule. But for this demo, again, we will be using TW, telework regular. We will select that on Monday and Wednesday of each week. We will then scroll to the bottom and submit. This will give us our blue banner of success, telling us that we have successfully submitted the work schedule. Now, before we move on, we always must check our AWS code to ensure it is correct. AWS stands for Alternate Work Schedule. The employee has an AWS code of 0, which means they are not on an alternate work schedule, and that is correct for the schedule we just built, so we do not need to make any changes to the alternate work schedule code. We're going to use our breadcrumb trail, and we're going to go back to the Timekeeper main menu. From our Timekeeper main menu, we're now going to actually post this employee's timesheet for the schedule we just created, and we will select Employees. Once we get into Select Employees, we want to use our blue search bar to narrow this down to the current pay period, which has the asterisk, and in the Timekeeper field, we want to type the name of our primary timekeeper to narrow our results down and search. Our primary timekeeper's name is Jimmy Timekeeper, and we now have only the 33 employees for which Jimmy Timekeeper is the primary timekeeper for the current pay period. We find our employee, Emily Employee, and we open up her timesheet by selecting the pay period hyperlink. Once we are in the timesheet, to post time, we simply select the day and apply tour. If you have built the telework code into the schedule, as we just did in our example, when you apply the tour, the telework coding will show up under the Environmental Hazard Other Code dropdown as TW Telework Regular. Let's now post Tuesday the 2nd and apply the tour. This is a day the employee was not scheduled to telework. But what happens if the employee comes in and they leave possibly a couple hours early and telework the rest of the day? In a situation like that, We would then start the telework not at 8 a.m. but at 10 a.m. if the employee left 2 hours after arriving on shift. We would then, in the Environmental Hazard Other Code dropdown, select the TS Telework Ad Hoc Situational, which is close to the bottom of the list. Now we still have from 8 until 10 a.m. that we need to account for, so we will apply the tour. And we now have from 8 until 10 when the employee was in the office. They then left for whatever reason. They needed to be approved to leave, obviously, from 10 until 4:30. It is now coded as Telework Ad Hoc Situational. We will continue posting our timesheet. Select Wednesday, applying the tour. And again, if the telework is built into the schedule, you see it will automatically post to the employee's timesheet. We'll click on Thursday and apply the tour. And again, to show an example of changing the code to a Telework Ad Hoc Situational code, it is in the Environmental Hazard Other Code dropdown. It's all the way towards the bottom. TS Telework Ad Hoc Situational. You will code it and save. This is how Telework is coded from the Timekeeper perspective. We will now go back to the Timekeeper main menu, and we would like to thank you for viewing our VATAS instructional video.